This is your Biz to Biz with Joy, a weekly show where I interview men and women in business who are looking to connect with you, sharing their philosophy, platform, and how they serve you. Stay tuned. We love good company. See you soon. Cheers. Oh, live, yes. It says we're live. Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to Biz with Joy. Grow your business in style. Leaders leaving legacies. Tonight we're going to be talking about the masterpiece of you. And there's so much to share about that. Our guest tonight, Christi, is going to share with us. She's the founder of Mastering the Art of Life. Don't you love that? Of course you do. I am Joy Ruffin. I am your style and leadership coach, speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. I work as a signature style specialist. But tonight, I'm asking all the time, and this is why I'm doing Biz to Biz with Joy for cosmic healers and alternative modalities, because I'm asking all the time, who are you? And this lovely lady tonight is going to help all of us to discover more nuances, aspects of ourselves. And that's what it's all about, especially during this crazy pandemic. So welcome and thank you for being here. I'm going to bring up our featured guest here tonight. Christi, I cannot tell you how honored I am to have you here again, because I don't have to say it, because you know that I absolutely celebrate the work that you do. So share with us a little bit about this. I love the title, and you are the founder of this. It's beyond brilliant. Mastering the Art of Life.
Well, my perspective has always been from an artist, and I have been an artist my whole life. Even when I was a little girl, I always considered myself an artist. And as I grew up, I realized that each one of us has a masterpiece within us. And I really pondered what that meant in the world. And I realized that so many people have decided that they can't they gave up their dream. They gave up their dream.
Yes. This is why, Christi, I love the title, because I work predominantly with women who are second act, second chapter, midlife. And I always add regardless of age. And so many, for all the nuances of reasons, we're not going there tonight. We're not psychologists. They have just given up. And what you're saying is, no, don't stop. Keep exploring that core of you that wants to blossom. So how did you come to this, though, Christi? Because everybody wants what you're offering, but the implementation of it sometimes is lost. So how did you come to this seed?
Well, it started with me falling flat on my face many times. And just looking and searching. I'm an adventurer. I'm a searcher. I look for answers. And actually, I kind of grew up with this information from my grandmother, but it kind of left me during my school years. And so I had a foundation of where to look, but I always knew that we were the masters of our life. I knew that somehow if we could figure out the formula, that we could master our lives. And even as an artist, whether I was painting or sculpting or creating new ideas, I always felt that I could always make it into a masterpiece because of principles, of ideas, of things that I learned. So I went to graduate school in art. So I knew I could use art principles to discover my how to do sculpture. And then I went, oh wow, there's a parallel here with the art principles to the life principles. And I started using those to really create what I consider the foundation of what you want to build your life on, your work, your life, whatever.
I love it. Absolutely. I know the answer, but I want you to share it with all of us out here in the audience, those who want to know more. How does the understanding of the universal law fit into work that you do? Because there's much that we know and we see and we hear and sometimes understand, Christi, that hasn't been embedded in our souls yet. So what is this universal law that gets you into the thick of knowing that that's a definitive fact for all of us?
Well, what I did was I took the art principles, like I said, and I started to explain them to myself and to my clients through the art principles. For example, the first one I use in my book and in my work is point. Where are you now and where do you want to go? And then I took the concept of line. That's the second principle, the second dimension, right, is line. And how do you connect where you are now with where you want to go? And so I began explaining, and that's the law of vibration. And so how you get from where you are to where you want to go is you have to become from your dream. You cannot get to your dream. You must come from it. So you must be in the vibrational frequency of that point, that place you want to get to.
Oh my goodness. Do I love it? Do I love it? How does, I always take it from the viewpoint, Christi, that I never assume anything anymore. Oh, did I used to? Did you?
Yes.
Oh, of course you did. I don't assume anything anymore. And I'm asking you now, how does the essence of one's energy and one's spirit, the core, the soul of them, how does that play into this masterpiece of life and this intuitive, which we're going to talk a little bit about later, your work as an intuitive artist? Tell us a little bit about how that comes into the fold.
So what happens with most people is they try to solve their problems or make decisions based on circumstances and conditions. That's actually the result that has already happened of their use and involvement in the universal laws without even knowing it. So what I do is I help them discover what the universal laws are, how they work, and therefore, like I said before, building the foundation on that. For example, so one of my favorite laws is the law of sacrifice, right? And people go, exactly. She goes, and it's like, who wants to sacrifice? But when I discovered the underlying principle of the law of sacrifice and realized that it was to let go of the lesser in order to experience the greater, or do you have a passion enough to deal with the things that are hard to get there? I started to look at what can I let go of in my life that's holding me back? And that's the real work. What can I let go of that's holding me back? And that's what I do in the intuitive wisdom drawings also.
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely received that, Christi, and I'll tell you why. And I'd like for you to speak to this, if you will. I have another friend I want to introduce you to, because the law of sacrifice, how does that tie into the law? I'm adding this myself, of forgiveness. Oh, that's a biggie.
Yes.
That inner child that we're all running around with, at least I was, and I think a lot of other people. When do you learn how to release and forgive and surrender and sacrifice the goodness and the essence of you to the best and the best of you? Speak to that.
Well, the first step is to realize that you only have to forgive if you are the victim.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. And the way to give up being the victim is stop blaming. Stop blaming yourself. Stop blaming other people. Stop blaming things that are innate. I mean, like my son used to kick the corner of the wall and get mad at the wall. And I'm like, that doesn't do you any good. How are you, you're a victim. You cannot solve anything if you are a victim. And so in order to move into forgiveness, we have to first forgive ourselves for being victims. We have to forgive other people for their unskilled nature. And then we get to the next step, which is blessing them, thanking them. I had a client in the other day, and somebody was just in a group, was dissing them and putting everybody down, and it triggered her. And she came into my studio to do some work with me. And I said, well, bless his heart. He got you in here, didn't he? And by the end of the session, she realized that without him triggering her, she wouldn't be there doing that work. And boy, did she have some major breakthroughs.
Oh, I have no doubts. I have no reservations about that whatsoever, because I think once you began, and how you describe what you just did was so consuming in the best way, because it's only when you began that thing about forgiving and not allowing yourself to be the victim and all of that, and also being able to say blessings to those who do whatever and move on, because they're not ready maybe yet. And your assignment is not to do anything that's going to be harmful to them. It's to say, bless them, love them, and move on, right?
Yeah, I think of, I actually grew up, my father was a minister of a Christian church when I was growing up until I was about 8 years old. So I remember a little bit about the Bible, and I remember Jesus being on the cross, and he says, forgive them, they know not what they do. And I tell you, that's so powerful. I like to call it unskilled, or the capacity. They have a certain capacity that they collected through all of the beliefs, all of the understandings. Like, our parents, think of the era that our parents grew up. They didn't have all of this, self-help stuff. And, therapy was not okay, or you were too sick if you had to go to therapy, or, yeah. And so it's their capacity. And so bless them.
Absolutely. I think the point that you just made is more profound and powerful than you might think at the moment, Christi, because what was back in the day, and I'm back in the day, old school, old fashioned, happy to be, yet I love technology. I can see the vast differences between what was then and what is now. And our assignment is to meld it together and to keep our hearts, our soul, and our mind open, and not to be critical and judgmental, because everybody comes to, my key word of late is awakening at their own pace and time, right? How would you speak to that? Because once you're able to say bless them, and you don't have to be right, and there's no judgment, and when somebody says to you something that maybe annoys you, but it also gives you a key that you can use to forward you onward, how do you speak to this different people awakening at different times with the work that you do as an intuitive artist?
Well, we all have our different influences, and I feel really blessed to have had my grandmother as an influencer in my life. And I know I didn't have a lot of the trauma that other people have had. I had traumas, but some people have had severe traumas. So it's actually has to do with the fact that we live in a human body, and that we have a development of a brain. A lot of people say, well, if we create our own experience, what about the small children that never asked for this? Well, we actually don't create our own experience until we do, but without notice, until we are deliberate about what we choose. The small little child does not have a frontal lobe. It has not had that developed to make. I told my son all the time growing up, I'm your frontal lobe until you get your own, right? And it's like they don't have that ability. So they were not able to create what they didn't know. And that was our job. That's our job as parents, is to teach them what they know. And so that's a lot of why some people are some places and other people are other places. And then you have those awakenings like you had, like I had. It's like the development of the brain is a divine experience too. And in fact, they're finding now that there's a brain that is developing outside of the skull.
Yes.
Right? Because we are evolving. So it's a part of our gift. I'm calling my body now my freedom vehicle.
Ooh, I like
and
that.
I'm taking care of it just like I would take care of a vehicle. I'm checking under the hood. I'm putting new tires on. It's like, if I want this to get me to, take me to my free places, I got to take care of it.
Christi, I absolutely celebrate you for that. I'm going to steal that from, I'm going to ask you, can I use that from time to time? That's absolutely beautiful. Let me share this with you. You said something, again, everything, but what you said here about your son and the frontal lobe and all of that, here's what I know now that I didn't know before. And you can speak to this a wee bit too, before we take a quick break here. Kids, it was at one time where it was thought and believed that only as you mature and you age, you gain wisdom. Well, I'm here to tell you, some of these young kids pop out of the womb with their inbred wisdom. Yes, they need the foundational grounding, the discipline, the love, and all of that good stuff. But they come here with their own sense of knowing. But our assignment is to support them in the development of that. That's what you said. And that's what's gone awry. Too far of an extent. So how do we begin? And I'm not negative at all, but how do we begin, the older generation, the younger generation in the middle, how do we begin to meld it together so that there's unity and love and all that communal stuff?
Well, you just said it. It's love. I mean, you know, everything comes down to love. And one of the things, a lot of our biblical things or the way we think of goddesses or gods or whatever are ways for us to understand and comprehend these universal laws. So I like to sometimes envision the divine, she, a goddess for me, right? As
Yes, me
in
too.
my image, right? And I think, wow, I'm dissing the divine if I'm not showing up as love in the world. And I ask myself all the time, would the divine really want me to be treating herself this way?
Mm.
And would she want me to say those words, even if it's about somebody I disagree with?
Oh my goodness.
Don't
Thank you.
let any words cross your mouth that you don't want to create more of the energy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, the movement that you just gave me is so profound and so deep. I'm a little boom boom here now because what you spoke to a little bit, and I will use the word illusion and our language, which has gone way too far for far too many people over to the dark side. But let's talk about that when I come back. I want to take a quick little break, and when I come back, Christy, I am absolutely in awe of your work as an intuitive artist. So I want you to give us more information about how you do that and show us whatever you can, and that we can't do the divide on the screen. But if you'll just take a moment to gather what you need and let me take this quick break, I'll be back with you in just a second.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, do I love what I do? Do I absolutely celebrate and applaud the women and the men who come here to share with you their wisdom, their knowledge, and their knowing? Because that's what it's all about: love, community, and sharing, all of that good stuff. I want to ask you to join me with my team and my circle and my tribe on Thursday, May the 26th at 4:30. I'm going to run the link across here. All you have to do is go here. It's my masterclass on May the 26th. It's going to be absolutely awesome. You go here. Take a little snapshot, a screenshot, or whatever you need. Go to the Facebook business page, the Leading Ladies Leaving Legacies page, and register for the event. You will not regret it. And what we can promise you is that you will walk away with much more information and knowledge about you. And I started off with, who are you? Aren't we always asking ourselves that? And what Christy's going to do is show us a little bit about how she does the work that she does. But make sure that you get to this masterclass. It's going to be, as my girls say all the time, oh, Miss Ruffin, it's going to be awesome. And it will be. And I'd love to see you there. In the meantime, Christy, what I want to do is bring you back. And what I want you to do, if you can, and I know it's a little maybe cumbersome and not easy for you because I'm not the techie, but I don't make excuses either. Not really. I want you to show us as much as you can and tell us a little bit about this intuitive art that you do. You're an intuitive artist. And tell us what that means. And maybe if we can get the screen to work for us next time, I can be your guinea pig or your example or whatever, and you can play with me. I love to play. So tell us what you do and what an intuitive artist is and how you work.
So I don't know any other intuitive artists. This came to me as being my masterpiece, bringing all of my things together. Because what I've been doing in life is I've been drawing my meditations, and I've been drawing when I've been in other people's healing groups or things like that. And these drawings have brought people real realization. Now, I'm trained as an art therapist, but when I go into the art therapy studio, I have people so often get stuck and go, I don't know what to draw. I don't know what to paint. And then, of course, with Zoom and with the pandemic and everything, I went, oh, how can I serve people and even bypass that critical mind that we have? And I went, oh, that's it. It's for me to do drawings and to connect with people intuitively, and then to reveal the drawings to them, to let them have the insight. So I don't have the answers. They have the answers, but I intuit the image.
I love that word. May I share with you and everyone in the audience here now and for the replay, that word intuitive blows me away because, Christy, why? We all have it, but we don't utilize it and use it as we ought to. And that's what you're saying, because you're able to, through your art, show people what they can't have up and budding out.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself.
Yeah, the subconscious. This is really a process of bringing the subconscious thoughts from down below or wherever they live and run us, that we don't even know they run us, but they are running us, and bring them to the surface so that we can heal them. Now, the good news is we only have to do that a few times before we get the process, and we can just do instantaneous healing and use the image for that. But so what I do when I start out is I do a regular kind of coaching session. What's going on? What do you want to work on? And I'm down here scribbling. Okay. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm intuiting with the person. And then I hold up the image and I show it to the person. Well, I actually have another camera that I switch to. And I say, so, and I'm quiet. I don't say, oh, one time I saw what I thought was cypress trees. And when I turned the camera on for her, she goes, oh, that's a rabbit, a hare. I'm always running too fast. She got her message. Not me saying, oh, you're going to go to Italy with me or something like that. Right? So it really is their drawing. This is an illustration. This is a sampling.
There we go. Okay. I can see that.
One of the images here. Get this.
I'll put it full screen. Yes.
Okay. And so this started as one of those normal scribbles. And as we talked and as we emerged, things emerged. And what was really interesting was this little blanket. It turned out it looked like a figure shaking out a blanket. That's kind of what she saw. And these were her old paradigms that she decided to shake out. And then we brought in this little circle of flowers. I'm backwards in the screen.
Right.
And that was the healing moment. And in these drawings, in these sessions, people actually have healings of things that they have had. This particular woman, this was her third drawing with me. And the drawing before this, she discovered a wounding from her ancestry. And it was healed immediately in the previous drawing, which is one of my favorite and most beautiful. It actually looks a lot like this silk scarf here, and then the roots of the tree and things like that.
Christi, let me just stop you for 1 second here, because you're giving us some valuable and profound ways to see and perceive and conceive things. You said something before you decided to show us and describe to us the lady, the example that you shared with us, how you drew for her. And before you could finish, you thought it was something, and then she saw it and she saw something else. I think that was very powerful, because what everyone will perceive that in a different way.
Exactly.
Right? You were able to bring forth, but what you had in your mind that it was, she said it was something else, and that resonated to the marrow of her bones. She got it. She received it. So does that happen often, is my question to you?
It happens all the time. I had another person that I thought we were drawing a butterfly wing, and she saw an amethyst, a corner of an amethyst. And it's like, what does amethyst mean to you? And what are these different layers? That's what it was important. And then I did say, do you want to hear what I kind of saw in this? I did have the image up a minute ago, because it was really powerful, because I saw a butterfly wing in it, and then she checked in with that to see if that. I had it marked in the book here, but I
think you're picking up my traits. I can never find anything when I'm looking for it. It's always there after I'm done.
I think
that's okay. I resign.
Here it is, actually. So this was this, and this I saw as a butterfly wing, but she saw it as an amethyst, and then she saw these little things as rose quartz in there.
Wow.
And so it was healing for her. But then when we talked about it being a butterfly wing, she saw how she was somebody that would send out into the world her message. If she lived the freedom life, which is what butterflies represent for me, at least, is to live in freedom. And when she lives in freedom and she's flapping her wings of being a butterfly, her wisdom is going out into the world. And that's what those little.
And look what I have here. I love butterflies.
Oh, yeah.
Freedom. That is uncanny in so many ways. Now, when I was looking at that and you were describing it to all of us, I could see the butterfly wing after I looked at it quite a bit. But
Yes.
then I didn't get the other, but it's not for me to get. It's for the person.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the Rorschach thing, right?
Yes.
You will see it differently than anybody else. I mean, but it's personal. And then I digitize it and I send it to people. Now, I talked about being the victim and how to let go of how to move forward, letting go of blame. But what I do with drawings like this, I go, okay, this is where you're at now. Let's say this is where you're at now.
Yes.
How do you move to that next step, that next point that you want to go to? What's in the way? And that's where images, they're not always beautiful and pretty, but things come up like this and people go, oh, wow, that's that for me.
That's a salient point you just made there, and a good point to end on, Christy. Let me tell you why. Not everything is beautiful, crystal clear, and beautiful and pretty to look at, yet it has its impact. It has its meaning. It has its significance. And nothing, the good, bad, and the ugly is only as you perceive it, and there is no ugly in my mind. But listen, let me just say this to you. You have something I want you to, the time goes here, it's gone. I want you to speak about your master class that you're doing. I'm going to run across your the link and what it is about, and then tell us a little bit about that and give us your parting words of wisdom. And when you come next time, you're going to talk to us about the why you do that, and go more into depth about what this is all about. And thank you for that. The stage is yours. Go. I'm going to crawl up your link.
Thank you. So what I'm offering to you is for you to attend a Time, Money, Freedom Mastermind. And what happens in that Time, Money, Freedom Mastermind is several people get on, and I do little mini drawings just like I did there, and answer a question that you might have either in your business or your personal life. And so there's one tomorrow, and then there's one in June. You can attend either one, and the code that comes in this, see the coupon code down there, is put you in for free. Usually I charge for this, but you can come and see how these drawings work, and then we can see if maybe there's some way that I can serve you.
I think that's absolutely Ducky. I'm going to leave this up because I want people to take a snapshot or a screenshot and be able to attend, because I know for a fact, you're offering it at no cost, and you're going to answer a major concern or question that they have. That's really, really wonderful. I thank you for that. Christy, time goes here. I say this all the time. I don't know where it goes, but it's a good thing. But thank you for coming and sharing. And next time when we meet, we're going to talk about all the why and how it has been empowering to men and women all over the country. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to leave this up as I say so long to the audience. I'm going to put you in the green room. Thank you once again. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Great. Bye-bye. What can I say? Is that not great? I'm leaving her free gift and her code to scroll across, because I want you to take a snapshot of that. And I also want you to be aware and get to the my Facebook business page and the Leading Ladies Facebook group, and register for the masterclass that I'm having at no cost on May the 26th. It will be worth the time that you spend. It's about 55 minutes max. And as always, it's always a pleasure to share time and space with you. I love sharing and being with you. And I love bringing to you all of these marvelous, fantastic men and women who are sharing their wisdom and their knowing and their knowledge with you. The collaboration that we all bring and share the knowledge and wisdom, that's what it's all about, my friends. And Christy said it. Ultimately, it all boils down to love. So I'm sending you much love and all the best. And I can't wait to see you again. How about soon, like tomorrow night? Until we meet, you be well, stay safe, and take care of you first so that you can look after others. Good night. So long for now. Cheers. We appreciate you. Every week you will meet professional men and women who stand out in the crowd, growing their business and style online. Join us each week. Want to be a guest? Let's make it happen. Connect with me on my website. All the best. Cheers.